This might be some of the best work I've seen Winnebago do in years. Hello and welcome everybody. Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV down here at Winnebago today. And this, I'm not joking. I've seen Winnebago towable RVs for many years now. This is perhaps some of the best work I've seen them do in a long time. They understood the assignment very, very well. This floor plan is not a terribly original floor plan. I do think, though, it was executed very, very well. That's my personal nerdy opinion. Here's what I mean by that. So we are right on that 30-foot mark. We should work for a lot of half-ton pickups with tow packages, especially your more late model stuff. Not all, but many half-tons. We have a heated enclosed belly. We have a walk-on roof. We have a factory standard solar package, Asdel below the fiberglass skin. They have deflection protection layering on that gigantic front windshield up in that bedroom. The bedroom has a larger bed. This has any of the Thrive models with a private bedroom will have the option of upgrading from 30 to 50 amp with the additional option of a second air conditioner, which we are seeing here today. So if you are in those screaming hot climates, you should be able to stay comfortable. They're still running a aluminum structured walls, slide boxes, floor. The only thing on this that's really stick built is just the roof, and that's for snow load deflection and towing stresses. This is riding on a different chassis. It's a Norco chassis. You do have a receiver hitch on the back to add your bike racks and things like that. Factory included ladder built right on there. They've re-implemented ovens after having a lot of people say, why doesn't your camper have an oven? We would really like one. They're a little bit taller on the inside. They don't have any heat vents in the floor. They have their own furniture supplier. It's not the same normal RV furniture that you find. It's literally from like a diesel pusher supplier because, you know, Winnebago has motorized contacts. And just the countertops. It's a totally seamless kitchen and bathroom countertop and sink where you can't have water intrusion. Like, they've brought back some really awesome classic elements on a very modern RV, and I'm really curious to know what you think about this. And if you appreciate how we get you the first look, hit that subscribe button, and let's get in there. Now, as we step inside here, a couple housekeeping notes. First and foremost, this is the very first of these that has made any sort of public broadcast, the 24 RKS Thrive. Now, there's been a couple other Thrive models out. This is still technically a prototype model. It is possible that a couple little changes and variances are going to take place. I've been given insight as to a few, but one of the reasons they called me down is they said, hey, your audience is really good at providing awesome feedback. Is there anything that we could learn from them? And I said, well, there's one way to find out. So as we go, we need to kind of hear from you. What do you like about this and what do you dislike? Now, another thing that I want to mention real quick. Let's get this right out of the way, and I'll probably talk about it again later. When you see this RV from the outside, I don't think there's any denying that there was definitely some inspiration taken from the Brinkley Model I series. Every manufacturer takes various notes from every other manufacturer. Nothing is 100% unique necessarily. So, let's just acknowledge that, and let's be adults and know that that's a thing that's out there, and it's not going to be an elephant in the corner of the room that we're not talking about. So now, moving on. What does Winnebago bring to the party? Well, first of all, start right up top. This has a 6'8" ceiling height, so we're a little bit taller, and that's a 15,000 BTU centralized air. Now, this model has a private bedroom, so this model has optional 50 amp service and optional second AC. This model also has stackable washer dryer prep in the bedroom, which is crazy rare for an RV right around that 30-foot mark. Something else I noticed here, like when I look at the Imagine or the J-Feather version of this floor plan, what they have next to the door is like this little cabinet hutch thing, and it's cool. Don't get me wrong, there's cool benefit to it. Winnebago, though, decided to make this oversized, massive dinette. And those of you on the West Coast, it reminds me very much of like the gigantic dinette that you find in an Arctic Fox by Northwood, where it's the size of a U dinette, but they didn't put a bench on the back that makes it difficult to get around. Instead, they gave it this massive, oversized, no knee knocker, dream dinette system right here, where if you genuinely want to have 4 people here and have room for everyone's plates and drinks, you can actually do that. Now, they put the biggest windows they could pretty much anywhere they could. What I do like about this, a lot of RV design has felt very cold to me lately. And I feel like that warmth has been missing. And they didn't go like stark white farmhouse. It's still lighter, but it's warm and light somehow. It really is working for me. But I will tell you, I'm not an interior decorator by any means. All the cool little things are like at a glance, I think everything looks really nice. But as we start going through all the kitchen stuff and the cabinetry stuff, like they've done some really cool features here. The one that kind of caught me though, I haven't seen this for over a decade in the towable RV industry. It looks like solid surface countertops. It's actually like fiberglass. It's like a crazy thick, one piece molded countertop and sink. There's like no seams or wire. Like how many people have seen on the Facebook forums, my countertop, is it's cracking for whatever reason, or water got into it and it's delaminating. That's not possible here. It's a different material, does a different thing. One of the things that I have been advised is that this slide out is going to grow 7 inches in depth. So currently, you see how the theater seat sticks out a little bit? That's going to go away. That theater seat will be completely encapsulated within the slide. What I don't know, and maybe what we can do to give them feedback, is what that will mean for the refrigerator. If this slide gets deeper, should they keep the fridge pulled forward, or should they push the refrigerator back? Pulled forward means the refrigerator will be easy to access and you won't have a head bonker situation on that slide fascia. But if it's pushed backward, that will make the whole RV look and feel larger and more spacious inside. So there's no wrong answers. Whatever feedback you are willing to leave there would be awesome. And as long as we're talking feedback, here's another thing. I personally, I'm not an authority, but my 2 cents, I think that this theater seat could be done a little bit better. It has, where did they go? Hold on. Instead of me telling you about them, let me pull one out and show you. There we go. It has the ability to have one of these little swivel stands inserted into the armrest. I don't think they're actually included with this floor plan specifically because this floor plan already has a dedicated dinette, but that's what this theater seat is designed for. My personal 2 cents, there's 2 things I personally dislike about this theater seat. I don't like that it doesn't have dedicated cup holders. That's something I would prefer to see. And I am not the world's biggest fan of a fixed, forced, hard console armrest. I think that it looks kind of fancy, but I would rather have a folding center armrest console that can be there or go away in case I feel like having a dog sit between me and my wife, or being a little more cuddle compliant, but that's my 2 cents. What do you think? Did they, is it fine? Could it be improved? Leave me a note if you're willing. Let me know. Would love to hear from you a little bit. Now that is a TCL Roku Smart TV, and one side of the dinette has the handy, what I call clutter cutter shoe garage right by the door. Perfect location and execution. You might notice these black lines on the sides of the dinette. Those are actually your heat vents. You'll see those in several places in the RV. They're generally speaking pretty good about not putting heat vents in the floor of Winnebago RVs pretty much as a practice. Now, remember how I said this dinette was bigger? I intentionally did this. The RV ships with an extra cushion piece that actually goes in the middle here. Because it is larger, the normal cushions that RV manufacturers use to become a bed sleeper mattress, basically, they don't fully fit. So an extra mattress actually ships with this, but this is a much larger dinette. This is your converter location, by the way. It's masked, but it should remain very easily accessible while the RV is in transit. Something else I noticed as I was converting this over into sleeper mode, though, there was a little more than, meets the eye, like Transformers Decepticons style here. And this is why I take the time to open up everything, tear apart everything, because it turns out there actually is a little bit of storage here. And I found out that is where that additional fifth cushion for sleeper mode on that dinette is located. So I was kind of glad I took the time to tear everything apart because I was sort of wondering where that mystery cushion was located, and turns out that's right where it was. The cabinetry, you might notice all kind of hidden hinges and magnet holdbacks. Something else that I noticed as I kind of played with all this stuff, like all of the cabinet doors, all soft close, like a big time soft close as well. I've also found the Thrive series is being very consistent, and I think a really smart feature. I'm gonna call it like a pantry closet, a closet combo, where you've got motion lighting in here. You see that you do have a hanging rod, and we have a removable shelf. So if you want a coat closet by the door, you got it. If you want maximum pantry space, you got it. And down low, where you'd have to get on like your hands and knees to get to the storage, they bring the storage to you. And they're doing this very consistently through the family and through the lineup. And that's a feature that, frankly, I can get down with. Or rather, I wouldn't have to get down because the storage comes to you. You get what I'm saying. Anyway, when I was first opening up all the cabinetry, I wanted to knock them and say, hey, why didn't you give me a space for a wastebasket? And then I came over here and I went, because you have obviously already considered and or nailed that. But that did mean that it limited some drawer space. So what they did here, I think, is really, really smart. They have a little sliding partition in this drawer for all of my flatware. Get you out of the way, Mr. Soft Close Door. But what I realized is that if you want to, you could bring this with you. You could bring it over to the table. You could take it outside on the picnic table. And that is smart camping content right there. That makes tons of sense. Having a silverware insert that I could take outside, and it's heavy enough, I could put it on top of the paper towels so they don't go flying, or the napkins or whatever. I also found out even those drawers are soft close. Everything is soft close in this. It's just a nice little touch. Additionally, what do you think about this? They left one side of this big and wide open, but they put a little shelf on the other side. So the sizing of this makes lots of sense to me. Where like over here, you see how we got a couple coffee cups below, but like if you've got like, a bigger thermos kind of thing, you could put it over on the right-hand side. Overall, I like what they're doing here in the kitchen. The only thing that I kind of had a note on in this kitchen space is I started looking for power outlets. And what I located was a single outlet under this overhead cabinet right there. It's white on white. It's tricky to see. I did not see a partner over in this space. So something I thought it would be limited function because we have limited counter space over here. But I would really personally love to have one more power outlet right down over in this area. I don't even know what I would do with it. It just makes me feel good. But I could be totally off base here. What is your 2 cents on that situation? Working our way around from there. A couple other little details as we head up to the bathroom. I've talked about the big windows. They open for awesome airflow, by the way. But have you noticed just the cleanliness of the window treatments? Just a simple, I think that's an aluminum shroud over a blackout nightshade roller. It's not super duper over the top crazy. It just works. They also fully frame out all their doors. So you don't have any what I call peekaboo, I smell you kind of door situation. Now I try to be fair. This is again a prototype, but I don't like that not perfect fit and finish right there. So, I'm trying to be fair about stuff. The porcelain foot flush toilet right here had plenty of room around it. I thought that was fairly fluffy friendly. And sometimes I'll ask the question, do you prefer a towel bar or towel hooks? And Winnebago went, yup. It's the little things. Now, it looks like the Thrive series is rocking the dollar store 4-inch fart fan. They have some really nice features here. I'm not going to say it's an over-the-top, full-on luxury travel trailer, but I think they have some decent things going on. Now, the shower has one of those little retractable kind of screen things, as you see on the right side, but when I stood in it, because it's a little bit taller, it's 6'8" from floor to ceiling with my shoes on, I'm representing about 6'2" in personal human height. I just fit inside that shower space right there. all of the cabinetry. What do you think of these little cabinet pulls, by the way? They're not sharp, which I appreciate. I think they would be like dog collar friendly when they're in a lower cabinet situation. Overall, I think they'd be fine. Now, a lot of manufacturers, when you step into the bathroom, you step down in the quality and grade of like your countertop materials. This is that same one piece molded peace of mind kind of countertop scenario, which I thought was actually very, very cool. I'm very interested to see what people think about that. Now, moving forward, this being a private bedroom model means that it has the option of 50 amp service and the option of a second air conditioner, both of which you see have been applied here. You obviously have to go 50 amp before you can get the second air, but there you go. Now, this model, they did give us a second entry door, so you can get to the bedroom and bathroom in road mode transit access, but notice how they didn't put a window in the door because we're in the bedroom where you need privacy, but they did still give us a cross breeze window up there. Now, the front windshield has the same blackout roll down shade as your windows, but it's fully framed in. You see how that's all wood framed? The window itself acts like a containment glide for that blackout shade to help keep the solar beams from blinding you like Manfred Mann and Bruce Springsteen. Do you even know what I'm talking about right now, being blinded by the light? Moving on. This right here. At the time that I'm recording this, Winnebago's calling this a king 66 by 80 bed. If you watch my videos, you know that's not a king bed. You know that is quite literally, in residential terms, known as an Olympic queen bed. The reason I want to stress that is if you type Olympic queen into Amazon or whatever to get replacement mattress and or sheets, it actually, you can find hits for it. If you type custom king bed, you're going to get huh as a response. But the base below the bed down here is actually still queen sized. So what that means, if you just want a normal everyday queen bed, all you have to do is shave down that plywood decking that's sticking up there a little bit. That's it. Just a couple inches off each side. You could put a normal true queen in this. The way they accomplish their bedroom storage, though, I think is great. It's symmetrical, so both sides of the bed have these soft close pull-out drawers. Both sides of the bed have these little side pocket nooks right over here. They could be phones. You could put books in there. Obviously, you've got power outlet solutions. You could put a CPAP machine in there if you're so inclined. They should be able to fit in that space. The overhead cabinetry, they nailed it. This, to me, is my nerd preferred way you do overhead cabinetry. First of all, it's enclosed. Secondly, the doors defy gravity. Third, there's no blank panel space where cargo can shift and you have to reach around a corner to get everything. It is 100% full storage and easy access. That right there, someone was using their dipstick, Jimmy. Continuing on from here, here's another look. Like, it doesn't matter if you're on the frontal side or on the inside bed area, you can get to those little sideboard power pocket kind of things. I like how they're trimmed out, so you're not going to have a splinter factory ripping up your arm. Just some very thoughtful execution applied here. Now, when you are laying in bed, they will, have TV hookups over here. One thing that they have mentioned is they don't like the way that the bedroom and the bathroom doors kind of both swing open and overlap with one another. So what is likely to happen is this bedroom door is going to get pushed back toward the kitchen some inches. And then the bedroom door will swing inward, but that will create a space where you could actually stand here easily, comfortably in the bedroom and get dressed. I thought that was actually pretty cool and pretty smart. And then we come over here to doors number 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. This is, I think, something a lot of people are going to be happy to see no matter how you camp. First of all, you see that this can just be a big closet space, but you see that wooden runner right in the middle of the wall? Well, that's an extra shelf laying down there. So it has a bonus removable shelf, just like you're seeing in play down here, which is also where you see the very obvious washer-dryer hookups. Now, if you want to put a combo in, you can kill the bottom section, put in a combo, keep a closet. Or you could actually even go full stackable, which is why the entire thing is vented. So That's just it's not that it's never happened ever before, but in travel trailers like this, in a potentially half-ton towable segment, that is kind of rare. Now, with the slide closed, we obviously can't pass directly through the RV. From the bedroom door, yeah, we can. The bedroom door gives us the nap and crap accessibility that is, I think, probably what a lot of people are looking for. But if I back my way out of here a little bit, sorry, I've got the camera at a funny angle, and I forgot I left these washer dryer doors open behind me. So just some of my best work, obviously. While we're doing this, I suppose we'll give you, if you're walking into the bedroom or backwards for some reason, like I'm doing out of this bedroom, there you go. I do like these steps. Instead of the metallic kind of stepping planks, we've got that composite sort of stuff. It just looks like I'm going to be able to scrape my feet off and get dirt off my shoes better and let water drip out of them better. You know what I mean? Flip less crap into my RV, essentially, is what I'm thinking that will allow me to do. But this RV has what I call two-stage travel access. Now, your bed, your bathroom, and your refrigerator can be accessed without ever touching a slide. And in this floor plan, that mega dinette is available without ever touching the slide button. So you do have all the major travel functions available. When the slide is closed, you will lose access to the microwave, which won't work when the RV is not plugged into park power or generator anyway. And you pretty much lose the stove and the oven. Now, if they tried to move that stove and oven somewhere else, it would break up the kitchen pretty painfully, and I think it would be weird. So I think they did about the best that they could here. And overall, I could deal with it, but that's just me. What say you? So for towing and going, moving this floor plan around, as I mentioned when the video first began, I think that there's a lot of late model tow package half tons that will find this within their comfortable capability, but where you go matters about as much as what you tow, because like if you're going to be going cross country and through mountains, you're not going to like towing this with a half ton. You're going to want to step up to a 3/4. If you are more of a casual camper who stays fairly local, you'll probably be fine with a half ton every now and then, kind of thing. So there's always factors there. Now, a lot of RV brands are going to these Fusion Light screw caps, where you might notice it almost just looks like white painted aluminum trim, but your screw trim on either side of that front nose, those actually are lit up. And let's not mince words. I kind of mentioned this on the inside, but let's not ignore the fact there has absolutely been some inspiration from the Brinkley Model I series applied to the Thrive from Winnebago. Now, they're totally separate companies. They're unrelated whatsoever. So, yeah, the one has inspired the other. But every RV manufacturer always inspires every other RV manufacturer. The difference here is there's some significant difference in equipment and price point. So it's still its own very different offering. But I'm not going to ignore the fact of what we're looking at here and pretend it's not happening. So anyway, let's talk about what makes this one. Why would you look at a Thrive? One of the things that I noticed when I got up really close on this front windshield, a lot of people are going to say, I'm really worried about rocks and stones hitting this. I noticed that there's this little layering right here. Man, is that even showing up on camera? It's super hard to see, but you can kind of feel it with your finger. And effectively, it's a deflection kind of guard on the front of this thing. And they did some testing on this, and they found out that they can wear out the axles before they can break a windshield on this. Now, if you are really, really worried about that big chunk of front glass, but you like this camper, there are aftermarket protective cover solutions available. Some of our team members might be aware of those, but you could probably do some quick Google searching on that and get a couple options. Because I know that there's a company that makes some similar things like that for Rockwood, who does a lot of front windshields. But the whole front nose of this is an extra thick aluminum skin that actually is still laminated to an Asdel backer with aluminum framework. I wasn't exactly expecting that. The chassis on here is a Norco Huck bolted chassis, not your traditional Lippert I-beam frame. Your stabilizers, we have all push button power stabilizers, just making the campsite setup simple and easy here. One thing I have noticed, which is pretty typical on this floor plan, it is a two-headed sewer monster. So you do have a gray tank outlet in the back of the RV, and then a bathroom black and gray outlet kind of just in front of the tires that we're seeing down there. That is a rack and pinion slide, by the way. They are laminated slide end walls, but I've noticed they've actually been running some wiring through their laminated walls, which is very shockingly rare. A lot of manufacturers just won't even bother doing that. The underbelly is enclosed. It is forced air heated. I have not actually seen any sort of weather testing on this. So the best I think I can really say here is that this is an extended season RV. And if anyone else tries to promise you more than that, tell them to put their money where their mouth is, because if the manufacturer of the RV hasn't done the testing, I don't know how anybody else could possibly give you more in like assurances than that. Now you can see right up top there, you've got a standard 200 watt solar package with 30 amp charge controller. What that basically means is, like, if you want to add an extra 200 watt panel, that shouldn't be too awful difficult to do. It should pretty much be essentially piggyback plug and play. I like how they didn't go with the butterfly silvery twist latches on their baggage compartments, and look at the flippin' size of this all the way through. And another thing that I kind of noticed down here, that's actually a heated cavity. So what a lot of people don't think about is, if you are camping in shoulder season, spring and fall, and it's really cold outside, that baggage door is not as thick as the sidewall, and it doesn't have the insulation quality of the sidewall. So directly under your head and shoulders, the RV tends to get colder faster. Well, that means that you don't tend to sleep as well. So having a heated cavity below you in those times, that's actually a pretty cool feature. Look at the awning size on this. I just recognized that. That is awesome. And the way that it covers both entry doors, that is like, that's what I want right there. And there's like nothing in the way of my main patio space. Now, most of your Winnebago Thrives will have the outside speakers, that nice JBL sound system. They'll be mounted in the skirting. There's only one model where it will actually be mounted in a wall, and that's actually their little 18 FBS. And the difference there is actually just the fact that this is a smaller RV that rides on because it's lighter weight, it rides on a smaller chassis. So notice how the wheel well sticks in the body of this camper, so it has smaller skirting. They didn't have skirt metal to mount speakers. So the rest of the Thrive series, in its current state anyway, will always have skirt mounted speakers. Evidently, the factory installer guys really don't like that because it's more difficult for them, but I think a lot of consumers prefer it this way. So I appreciate that Winnebago kind of stuck on that. Something else I noticed, look at the skirt metal. How you don't see a machine gun line of rivets. This Thrive product just has some of the best clean looking execution that I've seen in a long time. And the thing that we're looking at today is not even a production model. This is an earlier prototype. So again, keep in mind, some changes will exist when this goes into production. But overall, if this is what Winnebago is going to start representing and then improving further in production, I get good feels from that, because they during the pandemic period, they kind of ate themselves a couple black eyes, and I think they know it, and I think that they're making efforts to do better than that. Time will tell, certainly. I only have theories right now. We'll see how it turns out in practice. I do appreciate the fact that they have that ladder built right on. One of the ideas that I had is, I like these taillights, but I kind of personally want them mounted up a little bit higher, because if I have something like a bike rack sticking out of this rear cargo receiver back here, I don't want those taillights to be obstructed. So that was just an idea that I had. I appreciate that the stovetop vent hood does actually ventilate hot air out of the RV, and that is a 60,000 BTU on-demand water heater. What that means basically is, again, when you're camping in shoulder season, you can achieve a warm, hot shower far more easily. So there you go. Let me know what you think. Where did they nail it? Where did they fail it? What do you think about things like the theater seats? What do you think in general? How can they continue to improve this a little bit further? And give them a little bit of credit. What are some things that they've done very well that you're like, hey, do not change this given the opportunity? You know what I mean? Because sometimes manufacturers can outthink themselves. And at the end of the day, your feedback, I think, is the most powerful thing out there. And I see where they put a lot of customer feedback in this. I personally feel there's still room for a little bit more of it without really dinging the price tag too awful hard, you know? But short of that, I think that this is a good new step forward generation for Winnebago here. But that's my 2 cents. Now, I'll leave you links in the video description to double check pricing, availability, other builders who make similar floor plans to this, because like Grand Design has a very good one. Jayco has a very good one. Several builders have a very good version of a layout like this. I'd love to hear who's your favorite, you know, on any of the videos that you're willing to watch. Leave me a comment, let me know. And short of that, appreciate how we get you down here, get you early access to all the footage, help your input shape the product. Hit that subscribe button. We'll catch you next time. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.